Imagine waking up on a stormy morning. The news is bad. People around you act strangely. Work is chaotic. It feels like the entire world has conspired to test your patience. But this time, something is different. You don't flinch. It's as if you are outside of it all. No, above it. You are still in the world, but it no longer has the power to shake you as it does others. This speech is not just a collection of beautiful words or a list of superficial advice. This is a declaration of intellectual rebellion, a rebellion against mental limitations, rigid thinking, and the narrow definitions of intelligence that society imposes on us. Today, I will talk about the path the greatest thinkers walked to unlock hidden layers of their minds, to see beyond conventional wisdom, and to access a level of understanding that makes gifted geniuses seem ordinary. I will talk about how to become intellectually untouchable, not because you were born with a high IQ, but because you mastered the art of thinking differently. Not because you memorize faster, but because you see deeper. But before we start this journey together, if you find yourself intrigued by these ideas, don't forget to engage with this speech. Like, share, and let me know in the comments what you think. Now sit quietly. What you hear next might change the way you see intelligence forever. Imagine holding a single key in your hand, a key that can unlock doors most people don't even know exist. This key represents a forbidden mental trick, a way of thinking that has been suppressed, ignored, or dismissed by traditional education. Yet, you insist on gripping it tightly, as if it holds the secret to everything. This key is your ability to question the unquestionable. Most people accept ideas, systems, and beliefs without scrutiny. They follow rules they never chose, repeat thoughts they never examined, and live inside mental boxes they never built. The difference between those who are limited by their minds and those who break through is simply this: the courage to challenge what everyone else takes for granted. Controlling your thoughts does not mean conforming to the world's expectations. It means daring to ask, why, when everyone else nods. People will call you arrogant. Systems will resist you. Tradition may reject you. This does not mean you are wrong. It means you are not a sheep. The only thing you truly own is your curiosity. How you question, how you explore, how you refuse to accept surface-level answers. Will you regurgitate what you've been taught? Will you fear being wrong? Or will you pause for a moment and say to yourself, what if the opposite is true? This idea, despite its simplicity, is one of the deepest secrets of genius. It frees you. It liberates you from the prison of conventional wisdom, from the fear of being different, from the paralysis of groupthink. Every moment you spend accepting ideas without examination, you waste your potential. Every moment you question, dissect, and rebuild your understanding, you take a step closer to becoming intellectually untouchable. Einstein said, "The important thing is not to stop questioning." A person who wants to think like a genius must stop fearing doubt. Meet a rare kind of thinker, those who don't cling to certainty but thrive in uncertainty. I'm not talking about people who are smart only when they have all the answers. I am talking about a completely different kind of mind, someone who looks at a fact and says, "Prove it." Someone whose theories are shattered, but instead of panicking, they say, "This is how knowledge grows." Someone who faces criticism yet smiles, as if they know that being wrong is not a failure but a step closer to truth. What I am talking about is neither rebellion for its own sake nor blind skepticism. It is a deep philosophy, amor veritas, love of truth. Not just seeking it, but being willing to destroy your own beliefs to find it, even when it comes wrapped in discomfort. The truth is, we do not choose the limits of our intelligence at birth. People will dismiss us. Systems will try to box us. Education may fail us. Will you conform? Will you fill your mind with borrowed thoughts? Will you waste your time repeating what others say? Or will you think in ways that scare the ordinary? A genius does not fight ignorance. He outthinks it. Most people believe intelligence is fixed, a gift given at birth, a lottery won by the lucky few. But the untouchable mind knows a deeper truth. Intelligence is not about what you're given, but what you do with it. The world's greatest thinkers were not born with supernatural brains. They trained themselves to see what others missed. Think of a chess grandmaster. To the untrained eye, his moves seem magical, his foresight divine. But the real secret? He has trained his mind to recognize patterns, to anticipate outcomes, to think in layers. What looks like genius is simply disciplined perception. There is a moment in every great discovery when the thinker steps outside the boundaries of what is known. Galileo looked at the stars and dared to say the earth moved. Darwin saw nature and imagined time shaping life. These were not just observations, they were acts of mental alchemy, turning ordinary perception into extraordinary insight. The forbidden trick is this: you must learn to doubt your own senses. Most people assume that what they see is all there is. If something is widely believed, it must be true. If an expert says it, it must be final. But genius lies in the willingness to ask, what if the opposite is real? Consider this. For centuries, doctors believed illness was caused by bad air. Then one man, Semmelweis, suggested they were killing patients with their own unclean hands. He was ridiculed, ignored, and dismissed until he was proven right. The world punishes those who see differently before it rewards them. Your mind must become a rebellion against the obvious. When you hear a fact, ask, who decided this was true? What evidence would destroy it? When you face a problem, ask, what if the solution is not fixing it, but redefining it? This is not skepticism for its own sake. It is the deliberate cultivation of productive doubt, the kind that forces your brain to forge new pathways. The untouchable thinker does not fear being wrong. He fears staying confined. The average mind sees words, numbers, events, disconnected fragments. The genius mind sees the hidden grammar beneath them. Nikola Tesla could visualize entire machines in his head before building them. Richard Feynman saw equations as living things, dancing in space. What separated them from others was not raw intelligence, but their ability to think in systems, not fragments. Here's the forbidden trick. Stop memorizing, start mapping. Most people learn by piling facts onto facts, like stacking bricks without mortar. The untouchable mind does not collect information, it connects it. When you study history, don't just remember dates. Ask, what forces linked these events? When you learn science, don't just accept formulas. Ask, what invisible laws make this true? This is how you outthink the gifted, by seeing the why behind the what. A chess player sees pieces, a grandmaster sees lines of force, a musician hears notes, a composer hears structures of emotion, a student reads books, a philosopher reads the architecture of thought. Train yourself to search for the hidden syntax in everything. The world's most powerful ideas are not facts, they are frameworks. Genius is not a spark, it is a fire, and it must be fed daily. The untouchable mind does not wait for inspiration. It builds it, brick by brick, through ritual. Beethoven composed even as he went deaf. Marie Curie researched even as her hands burned. What looked like brilliance was simply the refusal to let the mind grow lazy. Here is the final forbidden trick. Genius is a habit, not a gift. Most people believe intelligence is something you have or don't. But the truth, it's something you do. Every day you must. Challenge a sacred assumption. What if the right way is wrong? Reverse a default perspective. How would my enemy solve this? Destroy a comfortable belief. What if what I trust most is flawed? This is not just thinking. It is mental warfare. You are not just learning. You are unlearning the limits others placed on you. The world will call you obsessive. It will say you overthink. Let them. The untouchable mind does not explain itself. It simply outlasts the doubters. This was never about becoming smarter than a genius. It was about realizing that genius was never what you thought. The gifted rely on talent. The untouchable rely on method. The brilliant follow rules. The revolutionary rewrites them. You were never meant to think inside their lines. You were meant to redraw the map. Now, go. The world is waiting for minds that refuse to be contained.